Were you involved in a car accident or other personal injury and you're wondering what type of damages you're entitled to? Check out this short video to learn more. Hey everybody, Barry here with the Lawful Channel. If you haven't figured it out already, this is a great place to get short videos on the legal topics that affect our lives. If you haven't already, would you subscribe to our channel? And if you have any questions or comments about a legal issue, reach out to me. If I can't help you, I'll try and find someone who can. Okay, in this video, we're talking about damages. There's no case, there's no car accident case, there's no personal injury case without damages. Damages are an essential element to bringing a claim for compensation. And that's why I thought it might be a good idea to let you know what damages you're entitled to recover if you've been injured. Okay, so the first type of damage is the one that is in every single car accident case, and that's property damage. The vast majority of inquiries I get on this channel are all about property damage. People's cars have been hit. In most accidents, people don't get injured. It just involves property damage. And there's really two scenarios that come up. One is your car's been damaged, but it can be fixed. And in that case, the insurance company generally will send out an inspector or appraiser to evaluate your car and give an estimate for damages. The other situation is when your car is a total loss. I've done videos on this channel on total loss and on property damage and stuff. I'll put them in the description below so you have easy access to them. I'm not going to get into property damage too much other than to say that what is a total loss varies greatly by state. It varies by insurance company, changes all the time. I've seen every formula under the sun. So make sure you check with your insurance company about how they determine if a car is a total loss. But there's also other property damage too that you don't want to miss out on. So for example, if your phone was damaged or a pair of sunglasses was damaged, could be anything, right? A computer, articles of clothing. What's the key to recovering for those damages? Photographs and receipts. You need to prove that you suffered damage to your personal property as a result of the accident. If you provide that information, generally speaking, you can recover for those types of property damage as well. Hey, make sure you stick around to the end of this video because I'm going to tell you about the one type of damage people always want to recover for, but they can't. Okay, the second type of damage you can recover for is an economic damage, and that's medical expenses. Kind of a no-brainer, right? If you suffer injury because of somebody else's negligence, you go to the hospital, they're going to reimburse you for your medical expenses. It's not that easy, though. It's complicated. When insurance gets involved, they pay less than the actual dollar amount. I get these kind of questions all the time. I've done other videos on medical expenses, so I'm not going to dive too far into it here. I'll put a link to those videos in the description attached to this video as well. The one thing I want to point out to you, though, is that you're going to have to likely reimburse your medical providers or your insurance company, health insurance company, for the bills they paid on your behalf out of your settlement or your recovery. People often think, well, that shouldn't be included in the recovery. Well, it is. If you recover $100,000 and you owe $50,000 in medical bills, you're going to have to pay those back. So something to keep in mind before you settle your case. And just like property damage, medical expenses could include things like copays or gauze that you had to buy to cover up wounds or ointment. Just keep your receipts. You're entitled to reimbursement for all of that. But after 6 months or 9 months or 12 months or whatever, if you try to get reimbursement for that and you don't have receipts, it's not going to happen. I always tell people, document everything. If it's not in the medical records or you don't have receipts for it, it doesn't exist. One final thought on medical expenses. You may be able to recover for future medical expenses as well. So for example, if you suffered a permanent injury and you're going to require medical treatment or care for the next 10 years or even for the rest of your life, that is theoretically compensable as well. That's something that your attorney is going to know all about, so you don't have to worry about it. But just keep it in mind if your medical treatment is going to extend beyond the date of resolution of your case. Okay, the third type of damage I want to talk to you about is lost wages or loss of income. You can recover for that. I've done another video on this channel, and I'll put a link to it in the description below. about how to recover for your lost wages. In fact, I have a wage verification form that I'm happy to share with you if you reach out to me. When you recover for lost wages, though, there are a lot of variables, and it's not an open and shut deal. You have to prove them through a verification form. Somehow you have to document your wages. If you're an Uber driver or a DoorDash driver, you can do it from your app. But you have to prove that you lost wages because of injuries suffered in the accident. And by the way, lost wages doesn't just refer to an hourly wage. It could refer to if you had to take vacation pay as a result of your injuries. Anything that your employer makes you use to cover your lost time is compensable. And one last thought about lost wages is that just like medical expenses, if you're going to lose wages in the future because you can't work due to injuries suffered in this accident, you can recover for those as well. So for example, if you're a laborer and your arm gets broken and you can't be a laborer anymore, you have to go into a desk job that pays less than you were getting paid as a laborer, you can recover for that difference. Again, this is something that your attorney will know how to handle. Okay, the fourth type of damage you can recover for. Now this is the one that people always talk about. It's recovering for your pain and suffering. Think of it this way. Pain and suffering is kind of like a sliding scale. With minor injuries on the left and everything up to dismemberment and wrongful death on the right. And how much you recover for your pain and suffering slides in between. If you suffered just a back sprain, chances are you're not going to recover much for your pain and suffering. But if you have a herniated disc or broken bones or a severe injury, chances are that your pain and suffering was much more severe. So this is a question that people always ask me up front. How much can I get? I really don't know. I can't give you an answer up front. No personal injury attorney can. If they tell you they can, they're lying to you. We don't know until everything's done. All the treatment's done. We look at all the medical records. We see what your diagnoses were, what your real injuries were, and then we can try and figure out a number to demand for your pain and suffering. The one thing I can tell you about pain and suffering is that unlike the 1980s or even 1990s, there's no multiplier that you can use to kind of figure out how much your pain and suffering is. It used to be that people would say, I can take my medical expenses and then multiply it times 1.5 or 2 or 3, and that will tell me how much I'm entitled to pain and suffering. I don't know anybody who uses that anymore. So if you read that on the internet and you're trying to use that with your insurance company, you can kind of forget about it because it won't work. Okay, a fifth type of damage that you can recover for, most people don't know about. It's called loss of consortium, or sometimes it's called loss of companionship. So let's say that an individual, male or female, gets in a severe accident and it has a dramatic effect on the relationship with their significant other. And for example, they can't engage in sex for 12 months because of the accident. Well, the significant other, the spouse, can file their own claim for loss of consortium. And it goes along with their spouse's claim. If their spouse loses, then the claim for loss of consortium is also going to lose. Now, we don't see these claims too often. People try to use it all the time, but the reality is this is only really successful in really large claims. And it doesn't have to be entirely based on, loss of sexual relations. It's other things too, companionship. If it puts a burden on the significant other, they have to quit their job, whatever it might be. I'm just saying this is another way of enhancing or building on a claim that you may have. Okay, the final type of damage you might claim, it's not necessarily a type of damage, but it's critical to your claim, and that is what's called permanency. And when I'm talking about permanency, I mean, did you suffer injuries in the accident that will cause you to walk with a limp the rest of your life? Were you bitten by a dog on your face and you have a scar that's a disfigurement and it's going to stay there the rest of your life? That is highly compensable. And if you can demonstrate permanency as a result of an injury suffered in an accident, it is a significant contributor to how much you may or may not recover in your accident. Again, we prove it through the same means that we proved other medical expenses or other injuries, documentation in the medical records, maybe experts get involved, whatever it is. But the bottom line that you need to know is that if you suffered a permanent injury, that's very compensable. Okay, I mentioned earlier that there is one type of damage that people always want to recover for in personal injury cases, but you can't. And that's called punitive damages. Punitive damages are a form of a penalty. They're meant to punish the other party. Well, a car accident is generally a negligence case. Somebody accidentally caused an accident. You cannot recover punitive damages in that situation. Now, if you have an assault and battery case where somebody comes up and intentionally punches you in the face, well, then punitive damages might be an option for you. There's other complications because insurance doesn't normally cover intentional acts, so that may not be a benefit to you. But generally speaking, I just want you to know that you can't use punitive damages in a personal injury case. All right, it's time for your take on the law. Were you involved in a car accident or other personal injury and you had a challenge recovering for one of the type of damages we discussed? Tell us about it in the comment section below. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out this short video on the type of damages you can recover in a car accident or other personal injury. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. And if you have any questions or comments, reach out to me. If I can't help you, I'll try and find someone who can.